can then, you can sell your coaching to our clients. You can also, if that's approved, you can also be able to come to all of our franchise expo events, sell franchising. So we get you trained as a franchise consultant. So now you can actually make between 20 and 40,000 per franchise you sell. Let's say they want to buy a crematorium, they want to buy a steak and shake, they want to buy some other business. You can actually be from our event, bring your people there and get paid on that as well. Then they also can bring us deal flow. So let's say you bring us a deal that we fund, you end up, whatever I negotiate, you get 10% of it. So if I take half the company, you get 5 points of the company, but you put up no money. So it makes sense. Let's say it's a marketing deal with them. Let's say I want to market like the VA service. So I market the VA service, they sell at our events. One of our advisors gets 5% override on all those sales. All he does is manage. So when you do that, then you manage that relationship. It makes sense. So let's say the company's called XYZ company. I do a deal with them. I put up all the money. I buy the company or part of the company. Whatever I negotiate, you get 10% of my negotiation. And then whatever the revenue model is, you get 10% of that. So if I take, let's say we do a marketing deal, I take 50-50 on the sales of stuff we sell, you're getting 5% of all those sales. But how much money did you put up?
Right.
Put up no money for the deal.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But you do manage the relationship.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. Let's go. Can't wait to see all this stuff, but we'll give it a try. Sounds good. 12 o'clock. Oh, yeah, we're going live now. Oh, you got to go. Okay. Well, thanks for coming for the breakfast.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Not sure how this works, but let's see. Go live. Can't tell if it's live or not, but it looks like it's live. I don't know. Can figure it out later. All right. Nah, it's just how to figure this thing. I don't know if I can't see it. Helps if you can see it. This is on StreamYard. I think it's working. I don't know. I'll figure it out. If it's on YouTube, you'll know. All right, let's let everybody in. Let's see, where's it at all? Okay, good. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How's everyone doing? I'm going to try to leave you guys live, okay, so you can all hear you. Not that it always works that way. We'll give it a shot. So we're coming live to you from Las Vegas today. And the topic of discussion is, let me make sure I think it's recording already. The topic of discussion is scaling. So if you guys have a pad of paper, obviously this is Bill Walsh live from Las Vegas. If you guys have a pad of paper, on the top of the paper, write down the word scaling. And I think, first of all, it's important to realize, what does scaling even mean, right? You hear this word about growth and exponential growth. Scaling is understanding that you got to put a timeline to wherever you're at today. So if you have a sheet of paper, write down today in a big circle, maybe make an arrow for 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. So big circle on the left-hand side, arrow to 1 year, arrow to 3 years, arrow to 5 years. And begin to really think about, what does it look like in terms of revenue for your 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year goal? And I know sometimes you always hear this about how much money you're going to make. And at every board meeting is always how much money you're going to make. I would like you to switch all of your thoughts from how much money you're going to make, how many customers you plan to serve. So if you could give me a number, let's say that your number for this year is 100 grand, and your number for 3 years is 300 grand, and your number for 5 years is 500 grand. So let's make it a simple test like that. 100 grand, 300 grand, 500 grand. And just so you guys know, we're going live today on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on Twitch. And of course, we're live here on Zoom. So we've got different broadcasts going at the same time. We got an audience here that's in Vegas as well. And I see that people are going to keep adding in. So we'll just kind of keep letting them in the class and keep doing some of that, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure out a better way next time for that. But if you look at scaling at a 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year Gantt, they call that a Gantt chart, right? And I know that in the public world, every public company has to create a Gantt. And what they look at is they look at, number one, where we're going to go. So I want you guys to think about, where do you want to go? Where do you see your business in 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year? And what are called your revenue markers? So if this makes sense so far, just put a 1 in the chat box, and we'll kind of keep rolling on this so you guys get this, so you understand that a lot of times people chase the money. I'm going to challenge you guys to no longer chase the money. I need you to really think about, if the numbers are 100K, 300K, 500K, I would like you to, right below the revenue number you just wrote down, how many clients you have to serve to get to the 100K, 300K, and 500K. So take a moment right now and write down how many clients do I have to serve to make 100K, 300K, 500K. And a lot of businesses, believe it or not, in our country, you know, most of them don't. I see more people are adding. Yeah, you want to just click that? Here, let me put it right here. So put it right there. Just click that button now.
Yep.
So if you can just look and then you can just click that when they come
Yeah.
in. Welcome, guys. So we're talking about right now scaling is kind of the key word for the day. We'll kind of keep going on this thing. There you can just do that. There you go. I'm not sure what that was, but it's okay. So the idea once again is 100K, 300K, 500K over the next 3 years. You could have 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, whatever your numbers are, those are your numbers. But I'm going to try to make this where it's a pretty simple, straightforward conversation around scaling that I don't think most people understand what's called success dynamics. And success dynamics really is a change from chase money to serve customers. And this is what I want your entire brand to live around is don't live in the universe about how much money you can make, but live in the universe of how many clients we have to serve to make the money. See, in the Bible, it says if you want to become wealthy, it says serve others. It doesn't say serve yourself. It doesn't say chase money. It doesn't say that money is the root of all evil. I believe you all should be wealthy. It says that the love of money is the root of all evil. See, I think money is nothing more than a byproduct. It's nothing more than energy. To understand true success dynamics, it means you start with the intention of be great at what your business is, but then focus on serving well. And I need you guys, when this is over, to write down what does serving well look like? In your industry, who does the best job at serving? Who really is great in your class at doing that world-class job of serving? Black Card American Express is a service brand. And their goal is not to sell a lot of credit cards. Their vision is not to have a lot of customers. Their vision is to become the #1 service brand in the world. Be the leading service brand. That's what they want their image to be. And there's a lot of companies that will try to copy what they do. A lot of companies that come up with different black cards because they knew the Amex black card was like the premier card to have. And Amex is doing a great job as that service brand because they stand up for the clients. They will definitely stand up for the customers. I'm not saying if you're a vendor, you love Amex all the time. But what I'm saying is that Amex built their business around being that #1 service brand in the world. So I need you, if you're listening today, that what does it look like in your business to have a 100K year, a 300K year, and a 500K year? And if we can put that over 3 to 5 years, it's okay. And once again, for you, it could be 1 million, 3 million, 5 million. I don't care what the ratios are, but you've got to work backwards into this, which says, how many clients do I have to serve to get there? And once you have that number, here's where it becomes even more fun. You've got to figure out how many presentations are required to serve one customer. In the chat box, type in how many presentations you have to do to just get one customer. See, Jim Rohn said a long time ago, he said, the guy that can sell 1 out of 10 can beat the guy that sells 10 out of 10. Like how, or 9 out of 10. He said, how can a guy that does 1 out of 10 beat the guy that does 9 out of 10? He just has to do more presentations. And so I would ask you today that if you'll know this ratio, how many clients do you have to get in front of to get one customer? See, everybody works in this world of grandeur. They work in this world of, millions and millions of dollars, and it always sounds great, and this fake it till you make it, and all these phrases you've heard in the past. But I would tell you that if you serve well, you'll earn well. Very powerful to get that down. Serve well, you'll earn well. So the question would be is that, what does it look like for you to your right?
Yeah.
To your left,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And down. Okay. Down. Right there. No, over a little bit to your left. Down. Right there. Click. Just leave it right there. That's all they click it. If it stays right there, you click it every time. We just keep adding folks online, guys. Welcome everybody online. Just get one sheet of paper, zeros today, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. What are your revenue markers? We're going to talk about scaling today and switch the conversation from chasing the money to being really focused on how do you attract great high paying clients? How do you attract great clients that pay on a regular basis? Well, part of it's understanding that, and these are the things I'll take as for granted today, that you've got to be great at what you do. And to be great at what you do, I always believe you study best in class. Whoever's best in class in your niche, whoever does a great job, they leave a lot of clues. Rolls-Royce does a great job of producing super high quality cars. Bugatti does a great job of marketing and creating the most amazing, expensive sports cars in the world, right? American Express does a great job being the number one service brand, or one of the top service brands in the world. What is it you're going to be known for? What is it in your industry that makes you stand out from everybody else? And what are these top brands doing in your industry so that they are better at attracting clients than you? I know you've seen this. I know you've seen people that aren't that great, aren't that smart, but they make 10 times your money. Almost all the times it goes back to something called marketing. Their marketing is better than yours. And this is where we live in a world today that you've got to be able to capture those eyeballs quickly. But the mistake that we make is we think that if I just spend more money, I'll be more effective. I don't think that's always the case. I think it's about really knowing your customer, but really understanding effective ways to present. And I think the mistake that we make is that we don't give ourselves enough swings. We get into a business, it doesn't work as you want it to work the first week, so we give up. I didn't get those sales this week, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to believe it's going to work. You're going the wrong direction.
I know. You don't worry.
There you go. You got it.
I'll always get it.
And I think so often is that we get stuck in these loops where all of a sudden sales didn't go so good this week. Should I quit? Am I going to give up? There's a great book you all can pick up. It's called 3 Feet from Gold. From a great friend, Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter. And it really talks about sometimes your lowest, toughest points are nothing more than a challenge designed to figure out if you're in the game to win or not. And this is where I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough swings. Almost every home run king was also a strikeout king. Almost everyone that won championships in basketball also missed game-winning shots. So you've got to ask yourself that on a regular basis, are you giving yourself at least enough what I call runway to win? And this is where I think so often we've got to work backwards into our numbers. If we're going to work on scaling, it's important, everybody write this down here live or online, is that customers are good for business. Customers are good for business. And it's important that you live by that, because I don't think people realize just how good you are. And sometimes what happens is that we get stuck in a place called Busyville. And you're going to find that Busyville goes to a place called Brokeville. Brokeville goes to a place called Burnoutville. And so when we look at this Gantt, or we look at this 3-year run rate, 100K, 300K, 500K, for you, it could be 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, 30 million, 50 million. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. It's got to work for you. Every business has a different, what I would call set point that you're at today. But I promise you this, that the most successful businesses, they get in front of the most people. They're getting the most presentations. They're getting the best chance to swing. And so if you looked at your last 7 days of production, this is always a great litmus test. Look at the last 7 days. Look at the last 30 days. How many presentations did you give on your product or service? How many opportunities for wins did you have? The most successful entrepreneurs, the most successful business owners, they get the most swings. So I would ask you to work backwards today, that once you know that number, now you can say, well, to make one sale, and let's say that my sales price is $1,000, I've got to do 10 presentations. And this is where a lot of times, paralysis of analysis sets in. We know everything about something we've never done.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that procrastination, once again, can be a killer. We had a lady speak at our conference not long ago. Her name is Marina Warrior, a brilliant lady. And she said, Bill, we live in a massive home in Las Vegas, 20,000 square feet. I've got a 3,000 square foot gym in my home. It's as nice as any gym in Las Vegas. And every day she would come up with reasons to walk past the gym.
Please.
She'd find reasons not to go to her own gym that was built right in her own house so that she had to go to the health club, right? So she started to realize, what do I have to do to break habits? And this is where I think habits have to become your best friends. For a lot of people, habits are your worst friends. I flew in late last night, I think around midnight or something like that from Miami. Didn't matter, went home, had to regroup, had to be back and on the road at 6 a.m. to be here this morning to get ready for this broadcast. But it didn't matter. If you commit to something, you got to show up. See, for a lot of us, we don't commit to enough things. We don't give ourselves enough runway to win. So when we start to look at presentations, Jim Rohn said the guy that sells 1 out of 10 beats the guy that sells 9 out of 10, get more presentations. Ask yourself and look at your habits over the last week. In your core businesses, how many presentations did you give to one-on-one, one to group, one to many? Are you giving yourself enough chances to win? But I will tell you today too that your habits will absolutely, without a doubt, and I promise you this, your habits will dominate your destiny. Your habits will dominate your destiny. People with bad habits, broke habits, become broke. People with good habits become better. People with great habits, you want to write this down. People with great habits become champions. Champions don't make excuses. They figure it out. And you need to write this on your sheet of paper today. I am a champion. I don't know what you're a champion at, but in whatever your niche is, you've got to be the champion. You've got to work every day to become best in class. And the way to do that is you've got to be consistent. When you really think about scaling, what happens for most entrepreneurs is they give up too early. They're literally right there in the edge of their greatest success story ever, and they listen to some negative broke people. So if you really want to grow your companies today, you got to make a list of all these negative people in your life, and you got to cut them out, because those habits are who you become. And when you start to look at almost every company I've done research on, I don't need to research the sales guys. I need to research the leaders. Better leaders will find ways to win. People that aren't willing to put the work into it, they'll just bitch about others. You know, we call them BMWs. I want to bitch, moan, and whine. How many of you guys know some BMWs, right? I know it. They want you to go party. They want you to go do this. Listen, when everybody else at the party, you stay home and plan. When they all want to bitch, you've got to make your precedent to praise. And when you have a lot of success, you don't got to say a word, because your success will speak 1,000 times louder than your words. But it starts with your language, and your language has to be, I am a champion. I am successful. The fact that you woke up today, you've already got a big win. And so it's critically important when you start to think about scaling. It goes down to these 3 letters, and they're very, very important. You get these letters. It's called GUP. And GUP stands for grace under pressure. With no pressure, there's no diamonds. No pressure, no diamonds. So you've got to ask yourself today, how do you deal with the pressure? And I will tell you that what normally works the best is called the big rock theory. So the big rock theory says that if you have a glass jar and you have big rocks, small rocks, and sand, which one goes in first? I will tell you that if you put the sand in first, which are the easy things, right? The big rocks never get in. Put the little rocks in, no room for the big rocks. So the big rock theory, I believe, is that every day you start with the big rocks. Create habits that champions live by. And I always share with people that success leaves a lot of clues. So go research who is absolutely the best in your niche. Who does the best job? Begin to think of 5 or 10 leaders, and I really mean leaders that you look up to in your niche that are setting the bar. And I will promise you what goes along with that leader is dynamic habits. Dynamic habits really start to feed themselves. And I know this sounds crazy, but if you'll do something for around 70 days, some people say it's 20 days, some people say it's 10 days, some people say it's 100 days. But if you go to the gym 70 days in a row, and I don't mean just go to the gym and walk around, I mean actually go do a workout. And if you hate working out, then go hire a coach. And that's what my friend Marina did. Marina hired a coach that would come to her house every day. And after 70 days, she hasn't stopped for years. She didn't need the coach anymore because her habits were so good. And this is the thing, too, that there's a great coach. His name was Vince Lombardi. And Vince Lombardi was an Italian-American that applied for the job to coach the Green Bay Packers. And they said, because you're Italian, we can't give you the job because you're an immigrant. What makes our country great is also immigrants. We're all immigrants at some point, right? So it's understanding that your way of life has to set your own tone, not by somebody else's. And this is what champions do. Scaling always starts with the inner game first and then the outer game. It starts with understanding up here that I'm great at this. And you just can't say it. You got to what? You got to live it. Just talking about things does not make you great, but living them makes you great. And so what Vince Lombardi did is that he created an offense that would just win games. They were so good that they could signal the other team to play. They could tell them we're running 34 right, and the other team couldn't stop them. So if you're listening today, I need you to write down the plays in your industry that work for the industry the best. What are they doing every day to get customers? What are they doing every day to attract marketing partners? What are they doing every day to stand way beyond what everyone else does? And you'll say, but Bill, I don't have their money. Please write this down. There's no shortage of money. There's not. There's a shortage of people who will put the work into it to go raise the money or go attract the money. And so it's easier to bitch sometimes than it is to do the work. And this is what separates champions from everyone else. Champions, they talk less and they do more. So it's important if you're listening today that what does more look like for you? You might say, Bill, but I'm already working 18 hours a day and I have no more time left. And I would say then let's go back and look at your habits, because Beyonce has the same 24 hours you do. All these wildly successful entrepreneurs have the same 24-hour period that you have. The question is, what are they doing differently? And I know if you spent the day with them, you'd start to realize they have different habits than you. And this is where the challenge comes in. When we look at a Gantt chart, we think about scaling. Many times we see the money, and the money scares us. I don't know what it's like to make $5 million or make $1 million or make 500 grand or make 50 grand. How do I make 50 grand in one day, right? How do I do these things? And you've got to work backwards from that to say, once again, how many clients do I have to serve? Then take it one more layer back and say, how many presentations do I have to give to get that one client or 10 clients or 50 clients? Because like I said, the only difference between the person that gets all the clients and you is that they've got the process down to a science. You need to create what I call ratios in business. And the ratios work backwards in how many people do I need to speak to today to be able to make that number a reality? And so we looked at the first test was it's 0 to 100K, right? How many clients do you have to serve in a year? And I want you to write it down and put in the chat box right now. How many clients do you have to serve to make that 100K? And if your products are $1,000 that they buy from you, then you got to serve 100 clients. If your client spends $5,000, you got to serve 20 clients. And then work it backwards into quarters. How many clients do you have to serve per quarter? Well, if it's 100 clients, I got to serve 25 clients a quarter. If it's 25 clients a quarter, I got to serve 8 clients a month, 8.333. Always round up. But to do that, how many people do I have to speak to? How many presentations do I have to make? And what happens for a lot of us is that we confuse being busy with productive. I need you to really understand this, that busy kills productive. Busy kills true success. If you're going to be busy, make that hobby work. If you're going to be busy, learn to take a step back from your business, and I would highlight that today. Take a step outside your company for a few minutes and really take a look and figure out over the last year, what have you done right? What have you done wrong? There's nothing wrong with celebrating these little small victories. I ran a webinar. I did a telesummit. I went to this live event. I did a one-on-one presentation. Your arsenal has to be so strong of options you have. But to do that, you sitting right home right now listening, you've got to make a list of what habits work, what habits don't work. And if you'll stop doing things that don't serve you very well, you have to begin to scratch those off your list. Well, I tried this, didn't work. Try this, didn't work. But you got to give yourself run rate too. I think a lot of times you do something one time. I went to this network event one time and it wasn't successful. So I'm not going to network events anymore. Once again, I believe champions always leave clues. If you ever study basketball, study Kobe, right? Study Michael Jordan, study Shaquille O'Neal, study LeBron James. What have these champions done over and over and over? They simply get prepared for the last 2 minutes. The greatest athletes of all time always had the greatest endurance in the last 2 minutes of the game. And they always had the belief they could win, no matter what the score was. People would laugh at Tom Brady, they laughed at Jim McMahon, they laughed at all these guys that were down amazing amounts of points. And somehow they came up with a win. I mean, just most recently, look at the UConn Duke game, right? Just in the March Madness, which I love college basketball, right? All they have to do is move the ball down the court for 2 seconds, and once again, they win the game. Instead, they don't do that, and they make a bad pass, and the other guy takes the pass, shoots from half court, and they win the game. See, your belief system, and this is really critical, it has to be bigger than the adversity you face.
You told me to live there 8 years.
Can you hear that though? Guys, if you guys are gonna talk, let's mute everybody. Hey guys, on the broadcast, you can't talk, I'll mute everybody. So if you guys could, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go. Well, I tried to keep it open for you guys, but not anymore. Sorry, guys. There we go. So I will tell you this too, that when you really think about this whole idea of habits versus,
Wendy.
I don't know how that worked. Somebody's talking. Yeah, well, maybe. Let's let somebody in. We can zoom some of this stuff out. I'll get the back to the screen. You've got to ask yourself, when you think about dynamic habits, it's that, what does a day look like for you? So just put these initials down, DMO. You're going to find that millionaires and billionaires have a very successful daily method of operation. And most broke people, their operation is not so good because they confuse busy with being productive. So I would ask you today, if you looked at, once again, the last 7 days, and every 7 days, give yourself this test. Based on your production, would you hire or fire yourself? Based on your production, would you hire? And you've got to be a really tough boss. You can say whatever you want in public, but when you get home and you look in the mirror, you've got to ask yourself, on track or off track? On track or off track? And what I find is if you focus on customer acquisition, customer attention, marketing partners, and you put most of your days around those things, you'll start to attract more business in 1 month than you did in 1 year. Let me give you that one more time. If you really focus your time on customer acquisition, on customer attention, on investing in marketing partners, you could have greater months than you had in a whole year. And the reason this is that with the right marketing partners and the right offer, everything's possible. But to do that, you've got to invest in those relationships. So I would challenge you to really take ownership of, and this is a big thing, is what does your DMO look like? What is your daily method of operation? How do you start your days? I wake every day and I thank God. I believe gratitude power is one of the greatest powers in the universe. And I wouldn't have said this 30 years ago because I wasn't in that right frame of mind for that. But I'll tell you today that when you can wake up and be thankful, you'll see that more of the right people, more of the right things happen. And they don't happen once in a while, they happen consistently. And this is really where the magic is at. When we look at most companies, and you've got to look at your own company today and say, I am the leader. I am responsible. I am are two very powerful words for anyone to utilize when it comes to business. And the minute you start to live into those words, wow, the universe will open up doors for you you could never imagine. But this is something you've got to think about. You got to begin to realize, what am I doing right, doing wrong? And I think so often, can you take this call, maybe Uber? Just take that call real quick. I think Uber's trying to find out how to get here. If it's not Uber, don't worry about it. Just see if it's Uber. And I know, once again, that when we think about our businesses, sometimes we treat them like hobbies. And I've got to ask you guys today that no more hobby thinking. I need you to really think that this is a business. And I need you to put that business inside of a circle. I need you to realize that however many hours you can do for the business each day, write the number down. Put the number right next to your, here's my business, this is my business. Put a big circle of hours you can do. And then begin to work backwards on DMO. The code is 7555. Yeah, right there. It's amazing how they deliver stuff. Did they bring the pad of paper too, I hope?
Wasn't Uber.
Did he bring the pad of paper? Oh, you're the best, man.
Yeah, she's gonna
I'm
call.
getting a flip chart delivered. The power of Uber, right? The power of delegating. You can literally order flip charts. You can order big screen TVs on Uber Eats.
What?
I know it's crazy. We were at a trade show over the weekend. We were missing a TV. Within 30 minutes, I had a TV from Walmart delivered right to the trade show and set up within 15 minutes. So you have the power. You have the gift. I believe that you're born a miracle. And I need you to say this to yourself. You put in the chat, I am a miracle. And your patch of paper, say, I am a miracle. And you've got to believe that every day. The challenge for most of us, we were never trained on how to partner with billionaires, how to partner with the ultra successful, how to give effective presentations. There's a brand new app out there called gamma.app, GAMMA.app. You can use this tool to build your presentation in 5 minutes or less. You can build your training programs. You can literally put all your images, put all your videos. InVideo.ai can make the videos that go inside your training platform. And this can all be done in less than a couple hours. But the secret, the real secret, I believe, for success and scaling is that a friend of mine who was a great friend for a long time and a great mentor and just passed away a few years ago during COVID, but he told me something in 1994 that changed my life. And I want you to really write this down, because if you live by this one little mantra, you can do anything. You can literally, you can change the entire landscape of your life and your business by learning this one simple process. And he said, Bill, to be successful in business, he said, you have to see the people and tell the story. See the people, tell the story. See the people, tell the story. See, for most of us, what happens is that we get locked up inside because we don't believe that we're worthy. We don't believe that we're destined for this stuff. I'm telling you today, you're destined for greatness. I'm telling you today that this is your time. I'm telling you there's no better time to be an entrepreneur than it is right now. But you have to have that mindset and that belief system, and then have a pathway. And the pathway always works backwards into the number of customers you plan to serve. Can you put that thing together for me?
Yeah.
You have to really start thinking right now that, what does it look like to serve 10 customers a day? What does it look like to serve 100 customers a day? How about 1,000 customers a day? See, the dreamers are the ones that change the world because they believe they can when everyone else tells them they can't. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company by the guys he hired to come into the board of directors. It took him 10 years to buy his dream back. And he had to partner with guys he didn't like. So sometimes you'll go through phases that are designed to test you, to prepare you for what's next. And I think this is a wake-up call for entrepreneurs today, that if you're going through hell, don't put the car in park, because you're going to burn. And I see this happen a lot of times, that we start believing in negative energies like in vampires. We start letting broke people dictate our success. And so today, if you're an entrepreneur, these I am statements, I am powerful, I'm amazing. It starts with little daily habits that make you stronger every day. Focus on getting 1% better daily, just 1% better. 1% better at making phone calls, 1% better at showing up, 1% better at making presentations, 1% better at having the right tools, the right systems, the right process, 1% better at applying for loans, applying for grants. These are all parts that every company goes through. And the challenge that we have is there's something called ego that sets in. If you really want to stop scaling for your company, then focus on your ego. Because what ego stands for is edging God out. Just write it down. Ego, edging God out. And the more you'll check your ego and realize that there is so much we don't know. We have so much to learn every day. We got to become sponges of the most successful in our industry. And when you write down the 5 most successful brands in your industry, and you really research, look at their website, look at how they answer their phones, look at how they follow up, look at how they add extra value. Ask yourself every day, what else can I do to add to the value stack for my clients in my service, in my niche? What I'm not saying is lowering your price. I don't believe that small business competes on price. Small business competes on value. So you've got to ask yourself, what's loaded in the value stack today? How do I make my offer in my niche, in my industry, how do I make it so compelling that people get crazy not to buy from you? And this is where I think a lot of times we get stuck, because we run out of runway. We've got these great ideas, got this great process, can make some sales, but now you run out of money. And now you're like, now what do I do? Right? Like, ruh-roh, right? So here's what I would tell you. If you ever run out of money, call Uber, call Lyft, go find part-time jobs to feed and drive your dreams. Pour that money back in, but you've got to invest in a space where you know someone else already had success. See, if you're trying to be the pioneer will always cost you 10 times more. It'll always take longer than you think. So if your GAT says 1 year to make 100 grand, if you're a pioneer, it could be 3 years to make 100 grand, unless you can raise a lot of money to move quickly. And this is where, as entrepreneurs, I think we get confused. We think because someone else is successful that it's all going to happen for you. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know the price they had to pay. You don't know that Shaquille O'Neal was told he would never play basketball. He was told by his high school, his college coaches, this is not going to work for you. But one person believed in him. Allen Iverson, believe it or not, was told he'd never play basketball because he was a troubled youth. And one person believed in him. One college coach gave him a shot. Became one of the winningest players of all time. So sometimes you've got to realize that you can't do it on your own. And that's where, if you guys have seen me lecture, I talk about a very famous African proverb. And it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And you've got to really be very, very present to who you invite to the inner circle. If you look at your business today, ask yourself, who are your 5 key people you lean on? And the book to pick up that'll change the inner game, there's 2 books I'd recommend today. The first is called Think and Grow Rich. And I would highly recommend the book from Napoleon Hill that you read the chapter on masterminds first. Don't read the rest of the book. Go to the chapter on masterminds. Start right there. I think it's chapter 13. Start right there. And realize that it starts out by saying that masterminds provide the economic engine that make every other chapter in the book possible. Wow. Let me give you one more time. Masterminds provided the economic engine that made every other chapter in the book possible. So in your business, in your life, who's your Fab 5? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And if you get a chance to go out with these people you look up to, go buy them lunch. Don't ever let successful people that are more successful than you, don't ever let them buy you lunch. You always be the first one to pay. Because they might not remember your name or what you look like, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And that goes in every area of your life. But if I'm out with people that are way more successful than me, I'll always be the first one to grab the check. And you'll always find that the rich people will grab the check. And the ones that want to be rich will reach for their wallet, like they want to pitch in. See, if you're worried about pitching in, you're taking all this time to who's going to pay the tip and how do you split the bill up? And well, you had a drink and I didn't have a drink and I had this one. Forget all that. Be the one that goes beyond the call. Be the one that if you're in an atmosphere where you're learning from someone else, be the first one to pay. Because now all of a sudden, when the next time or the next party comes around, you're the first one to get the invite. You'll be the first one they call because they know that you're a value creator. When I think of scaling in a business, it always starts with the leader. It always starts with the intention of the leader to figure out, are they good at chess? Are they good at managing people? Are they good at showing up? Are they good at being consistent showing up? And the other people are just talkers. And so talkers will always weed themselves out because that's all they do is talk, but they never produce. And I have very little time for the talkers. I prefer producers. I prefer people, if they say they'll do something, they do it. They don't do anything more than that. Just do what they say. Now, once you read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I would recommend this book number 2. And if somebody could type this in the chat, that'd be great. I would highly recommend you pick up the book by a guy named T. Harv Eker. It's called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Because what he talks about is that inner thermostat. He talks about that inner game. And he helps you understand that without the inner game, the outer game doesn't work. I'm not an inner game specialist. I'm not a health coach or a life coach or a fitness coach. I certainly can't help with the emotional details of your life and business. But there are a lot of coaches that can. But what I can really help you with is how to launch, grow, and scale a great business. And that definitely starts with that simple mantra: see the people, tell the story. See the people, tell the story. And part of this has to be that today, right now, this moment, when this broadcast is over, I think it's important. And guys, don't use this broadcast to market your stuff, because if you do, I'll ban you forever. So if you want to go do your own marketing, it's great. but not inside this broadcast. This is really for you guys to get some good content today, come up with some ideas. We have lots of ways for you guys to connect new deals, but in this broadcast here, we're going to stay focused on scaling. And what I start to see when it comes to scaling is that most people get most of the way down the runway and they run out of pavement. You see, when it comes to building $1 million businesses, 10 million, $100 million businesses, so often what happens is that we get so close and then all of a sudden there's no more pavement left. Please write this down. All success in business starts where the pavement ends.
Ooh,
I know that's not what you wanted to hear today, right? But
ooh.
all success starts where all of a sudden there's blocks in the road, and there's rocks in the road, and there's glass in the road, and there's, all these things that are designed to have you quit. See, sometimes people in your life that are closest to you, they'd rather you quit. They'd rather you give up. They want you to stay exactly where they're at. Where I'm telling you today that when the rocks show up and the glass shows up and the pavement's over, this is when you got to get bigger boots. You got to get better shoes, better tires. You got to invest in armor, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's a lot of fun and there's a lot of power to it, but it's not always easy. And you're not always going to be rewarded. And you start to have more success, here's what comes with it. It comes with haters.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something they know they could be doing. So instead of cheering you on, they would rather be a backstabber. And sometimes they'll smile at your face, and the minute you turn around, they're throwing darts at your back. See, the crazy part is that when I hear people talk about other people, I know already they're probably talking about me too. Because if they'll talk about someone else, they'll talk about you. And so I would tell you guys today as entrepreneurs, and this is really powerful if you'll just live by this little phrase, that you criticize in private and you praise in public. If you have an issue with somebody, if you don't like the way they do things, pull them aside. Have that meeting. But don't be the person that is out there talking around someone's back or doing things the wrong way. Because before you know it, you're going to run out of friends. You're going to run out of people that you can count on. I get people years later that will call me for help, and I know the truth. It's like, when things weren't good, where were you at? Take inventory right now in your life of the people around you when things aren't good, because those are your real friends. Keep inventory of the people that call you during your worst months or your worst quarters or your worst years, because those are your real friends. And the habits I believe that the most successful people have is that they're consistently persistent. And when I think about scaling, and I go back to this topic today, 100K, 300K, 500K, 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, 30, 50, it really does go back to speed of the team is speed of the leader. Speed of the team, speed of the leader. What does best in class do? Take inventory today of best in class. Figure out, what are they doing different than what you're doing? What can you change? And I do believe that big change is about incremental change. We used to have a friend I worked a lot with, and he was quite brilliant, the dean of the University of Phoenix. He said, incremental change wins all races. Incremental growth, incremental success wins all contests. And so I would challenge you today to look backwards. Look at the last 6 months, the last 3 months, the last month, and ask yourself and be brutally honest with yourself that if you had the same offer 6 months ago than you had today, and 3 months ago, and 1 month ago, how many presentations did you really do? How many people did you actually get in front of with your core offer? What are you doing for your marketing? And I will tell you, when it comes to scaling, sales is a byproduct of great marketing, not the other way around. Please write that down. Sales is a byproduct of great marketing. Apple does such a good job of marketing that by the time you get to the store, you don't even know what you're buying. You're buying an iPhone 40, right? iPhone 22, whatever it's called. They can call it iPhone 50. It doesn't matter. You'd buy it because the marketing is so good. You don't really know what the phone does. It's got the better camera. Well, how much better can the camera get? I don't know, but they still make you buy a new one, right? And I think today in your business, it's critical for you to always be innovating. Always, always, always be innovating. What can I do to make my product, my service just 1% better, 5% better, 10% better? What can I do to serve more clients? What are things that I can do differently to make sure that I have the best chance to sell? I think so often business owners and entrepreneurs, they get stuck in that old mindset that what I did last year will work this year. And I'm going to tell you today that everything has changed. I would have never believed that I could go to a website where I'm going to order food and I could buy flat screen TVs. Within 30 minutes, those TVs are at my office or at the trade show. Because I think as the market changes, are you changing? Are you actually updating your software? Are you updating what you're doing? Are you going beyond the call? So when we started this conversation about taking inventory, ask about your own value stack. And if you look at the top 5 in the world in your industry, what are they doing? What are they doing differently? Are they making more phone calls? Are they adding more value? Do they have better partners? Because sometimes your product could be way better than theirs. Your service way better than theirs, but their marketing is 10x yours. And because their marketing is so good, they're taking your clients every day. So I think for a lot of us, we can't rest on what worked yesterday or last week or last month. I remember the first time going online and you heard this crackling noise, right? And you had to connect on a phone line, right? I mean, I know some of you guys are too young for that, but imagine internet at the slowest pace ever. Imagine internet where literally it's almost mentally defeating to go online. Just to check email was like a work. You could never watch a video, right? But in 30 years, it's changed so much. But I will tell you this too. In the last 3 years, ever since 5G became the norm, pipeline access to content at 4G, imagine the size of a sewer line. That's 4G for content to move through there. 5G content is the size of a city. Wow. So just think that one through for a second. And I need you to understand too that so often people live in what's called dreamland. And this is critical, you guys all write this down. Dreamland will not pay your bills. Write it down. Dreamland will not pay your bills. If you're hungry, there's some food over there. Got some stuff, right? And I know that I see people today that they're in fantasy land. They wake up and they're dreaming about all these customers going to call them. Billionaires are not going to call you. Billionaires are not coming to your house. The most successful entrepreneurs are going to pick up the phone and ring your house and send you an email. And I think that is really a conversation about scaling that you've got to be in the right rooms, you guys. You've got to set an intention to think about, how do I scale fast? How do I scale fast without spending millions of dollars? How do I do what would take somebody 3 years? How do I do that in 90 days? And this is where the fun starts. And I would challenge everyone today to begin to think differently about this. When you look at your business, take a step back at least once a week and ask yourself these questions. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Where is there room for improvement? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Where is there room for improvement? I think we don't realize that sometimes you're one partnership away from your greatest success story. So I know when I look at companies that really do scale quickly, they don't only have great intentions, they surround themselves with other great leaders. And this is where I think so often we get off the mark. We combine our negative emotions, our negative thoughts. It didn't work in the past, so it may not work now. We combine being too busy. You know, my day is so full, I can't make one more phone call. And once you understand big rock theory and you start to understand that, how do I get rid of the big things first? How do I focus on the big relationships first? How do I make those tough phone calls first? You're going to find that when your habits, and this is critically important, when your habits line up with your values and your actions, habits with values and actions, you become unstoppable. Entrepreneurs that scale, they don't make excuses. They get beat up a lot. They do get beat up a lot. Understand you have a lot of failures. I have failures every week. Tried this, didn't work. Tried that, didn't work. If you're not trying new things, you're going to get beat. If you're not willing to innovate, you're going to find someone else that does, and they're going to take your customers. So today, what's in your value stack? How many marketing partners do you currently have? Every time you take an airline flight, you should learn about marketing partners. You cannot get on an American Airlines, United Airlines flight and not get pitched a credit card. Those are called marketing partner deals. So I need you guys today to begin thinking about what would it look like to have just 5 good marketing partners? How about 10 good marketing partners? The ones that scale the fastest, you can take this to the bank, they all have great marketing partners. And you're like, but Bill, what is a marketing partner? What does that mean? Delta and American Express, United and Chase, American Airlines and Citibank. These are great marketing partners where they revenue share and they support each other. And most of us, we will find what are called affiliate relationships, or we'll find referral programs. I'm going to challenge you today. If there's one thing you take away from this broadcast, the reason we beat our competition 8 or 9 times out of 10, we have better marketing partners. I sit on lots of public boards, become a board of advisor for other people's companies, create wins for them. They can be your competitors in the same industry. And I know this sounds like, oh my God, that's a crazy thought. Always partner with best in class. Do everything you can right now today to make a list of who already serves your client. Who do you know that's out there today that's already partnering with that serves your client? And how can you team up with them? Maybe you got to buy them lunch, buy them dinner. Maybe you got to invest in their seminars, invest in their events, whatever it takes. And this is where I'm going to leave today's broadcast with, is that you belong in every room. I need you to write that down too. I belong in every room. Then you got to make a list of not where your customers are at, where's your marketing partners at? How do you get in the right rooms with the right people on a regular basis? And if you'll do this, you're going to find more success in the next year than you had in the last 5. Let me give you that one more time. With the right marketing partners, you will find you'll have more success in 1 year than you had in the last 5 years. And I know this work because I live it every day. I'm always looking for new ways to partner with best in class. And I will spend a lot of money to invest in those relationships. So scaling is nothing more than understanding the rule of success dynamics. It's understanding, not focusing on money, but focus on the number of clients you're going to serve. Not focusing on being busy today, but working on great habits. Not thinking about all the list of things you should be doing. Instead, work on the list of things you should be delegating. And the sooner you move into that space, the sooner you move into the, I am the leader, I'm going to take 100% responsibility, you're going to find more success will find you. So I hope this first broadcast of Bill Walsh Live was helpful for you today. And if it was, put one in the chat box or maybe share it somewhere. And I know for a fact that this is your year. This is your year to go make it one of your best years ever. And if we can help you with Power Team, we're all about it. Everybody can get my book, get newsletters for free. Just text the word WIN. Text the word WIN right now. You guys don't take out your phones. Text the word WIN to the number 26786. Text WIN to 26786. We're looking for marketing partners. We're looking for new customers, new relationships, always looking for great events to speak at. But we're excited to bring this broadcast to you guys live. We'll do this every month. One's from Vegas, one's from Chicago. You can always come if you're in Vegas, Chicago. And I just want to say I love you guys, and let's go make it a great week. Thanks, everybody. The broadcast is over. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now. Peace out. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Let's see. And there we go.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How was that?
Ah.
Guys enjoy that today?
Yeah.
How are you, man?
So good.
Kind of fun. If you guys are on the live stream, I'll let you guys go here too. Bye now. Bye, live streamers. I don't know how to turn this one off, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We're getting this thing down.
I got to go to your CEO summit for the first time about a month ago.
Oh, cool. Did you meet some good people?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, that's what it's all about.
And yeah, this really complimented it. Thank you.
Well, yeah, because I think that